Oh, how's it going there, Kinlings? Your good old Uncle Linwood here. Back once again. Oh, that one got me in the face. Back once again to spend some knowledge of the Lumberwoods and the mysterious happenings therein onto you. Yes, this is indeed a great blessing that I confer for free. Unless, you can spare, a 10 or a 20. I want it. It would be impolite for me to refuse. But anyway, I was pondering is what I was doing. And I was pondering a great many of her thoughts. And I just came to the realization here, that as long as I've been doing this, why I have told you about folklore, and I have expounded upon folklore, and I have taught you about folklore, I have not told you a story, which is in of itself the basis for many folklore. To make this more folkloric, it's not enough to teach you about folklore. I have to give you an example. So I'm going to tell you a wonderful story today. A most magnificent story, a most splendiferous story, the story of my encounter with the hoop snake. Now, this is a real story. Now, I understand that there are somewhat, cautious, wary folk who may not yet believe in the truth and the reality and the concreteness of the hoop snake. But I am hoping when I am done here today that I can thus expel all doubts of any such educational inaccuracies. Okay, you listening? All right, so here, this happened a ways back ago, back in Mizzen Day, when I was knee-high to a grasshopper. It happened in the great Grungle Woods of Bumpus, Virginia. Now, if you never heard of the Grungle Woods, pity you, but it happens. Well, it's also, no, hey, we're telling a story. Don't interrupt me. Don't click away. I know you're out there doubting me about the Grungle Woods, but the Grungle Woods is a most enchanting place, the Grungle Woods of Bumpus, Virginia. It's so named for the Grungles that lived there. Now, you're probably wondering, Linwood, what the hell is a Grungle? You just made that up. No. Look, I would totally tell you what a Grungle is. But see, unfortunately, I cannot. For it is a great service to you to not know what a Grungle is, okay? All right, okay. I can't tell you. You do not want to know what a Grungle is. But I will tell you this, that a Grungle is 8 feet tall and invisible. But that's as far as I'll go on the Grungle. We're talking about the hoop snake today. That lives in the great Grungle Woods of Bumpus, Virginia. Bumpus, Virginia, which is a real place. B-U-M-P frickin' A-double-S. I'll let that sink in. It's located between the vicinities of Cuckoo and Beaver Dam, which are also real places. Really, you could look those up. Anyway, so ways back when in the great Grungle Woods of Bumpus, Virginia, I was walking on the Grungle Path. The Grungle Path, what goes through the Grungle Woods, Bumpus, Virginia. And I was just walking along, singing my song. And on my path, not more than 10, 15, 2, 3, 6, 8, 5 1/4. I'm a really bad judge of distance. In front of me was a hoop snake. Now, this weren't no ordinary hoop snake. Of course, no, this weren't no ordinary hoop snake. This was an unhooped hoop snake. Now, there are some doubtful folk who are saying, if it was an unhooped hoop snake, how did you even know it was a hoop snake to begin with? Well, my keen powers of observation and knowledge of the critters which dwell in the Grungle Woods granted me the ability to correctly identify that it was a hoop snake there. And not just identify, positively verify that it was a hoop snake. And you can tell a hoop snake, even when they're unhooped, but that's why hoop snakes are tricky. So allow me to go on with the story. So I was walking along the path, and not more than 5 feet ahead of me, 2 yards, 3 1/4, 8 tenths, 5 pence in front of me was a hoop snake. Now, I was about to turn back. I'll be honest with you. I turned back. Because I'm not going to go against no hoop snake. So I started walking back. Then, as I was retreating, I realized something. Wait a second. Why am I turning back from this snake? Shouldn't this snake turn back from me? Which is a good question. And I thought this to myself. And I thought about it. So you know what I did? I went and turned back around and started heading towards the hoop snake. Now, as you know, y'all might know, the hoop snake is a possessor of a very deadly poison. So this is very dangerous. But I was young and stupid, so you know it's realistic. Now, as I was approaching the hoop snake, as I was getting closer and closer to it, at that point I probably thought it'd be better to have a plan. Yeah, you know that those would come in handy when you're dealing with any kind of wild animal. You could just jump into it. You could totally Steve Irwin it, but it's good to have a plan. So here's what was my plan. I grabbed up a big bunch of leaves, okay? And I threw them over the hoop snake, which so confused the snake, it tried to bite every single leaf that fell over its head. And this greatly confused the hoop snake, and it didn't know what quite to make of the hoop snake. But then that's when I grabbed another bundle of leaves, and I threw it over the hoop snake. And again, the hoop snake tried to bite all the leaves. All the leaves it tried to bite. And it was pretty agitated at this point. I'll get you, pretty agitated. As to why it did not hoop itself at this point right there is quite the quandary. This is quite the quandary. But I'm not a hoop snake psychologist. I don't know the psychology of the hoop snake. What it's going through its mind and all. Okay. So then at last I grabbed up the biggest pile of leaves I could. It must have been, like 13 feet high. I grabbed them and I threw them over the hoop snake. Again, I'm a really bad judge of measurements. And it started biting and biting and biting. And at this point, the hoop snake didn't know what to think. What was this strange being that can hurl the force from the sky at him is what he was thinking. Though I'm, again, no hoop snake psychologist. But if I were a hoop snake, that's what I'd be thinking. So then, at that point, I took a sheaf. I had a long sheaf, or cloth, but sheaf sounds better. A long cloth sheaf. Yes, sheaf cloth. And I threw it over the hoop snake. Then I had a mighty stick that I used to wallop things, especially toasters and computers, which are abundant in the great Grungle woods of Bumpus, Virginia. They just grow wild there, or people dump them there, but they're fun to hit with large sticks. And I went up to the hoop snake, and I started bashing the cloth over it with the stick, the mighty stick, the club. The club is what it was, until it ran off, and I had accurately defeated this hoop snake. So what did we learn today? What did we learn about the story? Well, one, it's better to rehearse things. There were some holes in that story, but, they were truthful holes. They were very accurate holes to the process of folkloric storytelling. The oral traditions is what it is. And the second thing is that sometimes things will be coming at you, and you'll be biting at them, trying to ward them off. But the thing you really wanted is about to walk away. So you got to learn to see. Not just with your eyes, but your brain. You got to watch out for decoys. You got to go after the real things in life. This is what the purpose of this story is. And it is on that note. It made a really cool ding sound earlier, but now it's just, okay, screw it. But it's on that note that I leave you, good sirs, madams, friends, comrades, cohorts, criminal associates, but not associates of mine, though I'm not judging who you may be criminally associated with. And you, go on and live your life and watch out for those things. Tra-la-fa-la-la.